Hey, amazing students. I hope you're having a great day. So today what we're going to do is review volume, surface area, and Pythagorean Theorem, all three of those things. My suggestion is you are watching the whole entire video because we did volume, surface area, and Pythagorean Theorem at the beginning of the 9 weeks. And so it's been a very long time since we reviewed. Refresh yourself. Make sure you understand how to do it. So what I would do in my notes is copy down the cylinder, sphere, and the cone. I'm just going to put some dimensions in here. Trying to draw a sphere. And they didn't have a cone, so that's why I'm having to do that. Okay, so let's start with a cylinder. Always looking at my formula chart first. The formula is V equals capital B times H. And before I do anything, I need to define my variables. What does capital B stand for? Capital B stands for the area of the base. The area of the base. This is something that hopefully is driven in your mind. Capital B stands for the area of the base. And on a cylinder, what shape is the base? A circle. So I'm looking on my formula chart. The area of a circle is pi radius squared. So capital B is the area of the base. My base is a circle, so I'm using pi radius squared times height. The transition from here to here is extremely important. So then from there, I need to figure out what my radius is and what the height is. Well, the height is the easiest, right? From base to base, my height is 10. Label that H. But what is this 5 centimeters? 5 centimeters is the diameter, right? Because from one edge of the circle to the other edge of the circle. So this is the diameter. And how do I find the diameter from the radius? I need to split that in half, right? So 5 divided by 2 will give me my radius, which is 2.5. So my radius is 2.5 centimeters. So this is going to be V equals pi times 2.5 squared times the height of 10. And I'm just putting that in Desmos, exactly how that looks. And that will give me 196.3. And we're talking about volume, so cubed. All right, let's move on to the sphere. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm looking at my formula chart. 6 1/2, what is that? What does this represent on the sphere? Well, it's from the edge of the circle to the center, so this represents my radius. And how do I figure out what 6 1/2 is? Well, I can put 1/2 in the calculator. 1/2 is 0.5, so that's 6.5. And then I'm just plugging it in. Volume equals 4/3 pi 6.5 cubed. Putting that into Desmos. And I'm sorry, I really should have a reminder of how to put this into Desmos, but I'm not sure if Desmos is on my screen. But practice, and you should get, 1,000. 1,150.3 centimeters cubed. All right, and then we have our cone. Let's label everything. 3 2/5. What does this represent? That represents the radius of the base. And what does 10 centimeters represent? The height. So I need to write my equation for a cone is volume equals 1/3 capital B times H. But pause before I just 1/3 times this and this. What does capital B stand for? Area of the base. What shape is my base? A circle. Looking on my formula chart, how do I find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So this turns in volume equals 1/3 pi r squared times height. You need to know how to make this transition from capital B to pi r squared. 3 2/5, what is that? Well, 2/5 is 0.4, so that's 3.4. Alright, so I'm putting that in my volume equals 1/3 pi times 3.4 squared times height of 10. 1/3 pi 3.4 squared times 10. 121.1 centimeters cubed. Make sure, guys, what I would have done on this video, if you didn't really need the refresher, is pause. Done all these yourself just to make sure you know how to do them. Okay? All right. Let's look at surface area. We're going to just do total surface area for all of these. And remember, lateral surface area is the area without the bases. Total surface area is the area with the bases. So for a rectangular prism, it's S equals PH plus 2B. What does P stand for? Perimeter of the base. What does H stand for? Height from base to base. What does capital B stand for? Area of the base. So let's write some dimensions in here. All right, let's change the color. So, what did we talk about first 9 weeks? What's the first thing I probably should do on all these problems? I would draw out my base. Why am I drawing out my base? What's the point of that? Well, 2 things have to do with the base. The perimeter of the base, the area of the base. Well, if I have my base drawn out, man, that makes it so much easier. So on a rectangular prism, remember the bottom is your base. All right, so I have my base drawn out. I have the dimensions of my base. Okay, what does 6 represent? From bottom to top, my base to base, 6 would represent the height. So let's start with our capital P. P is the perimeter of the base. How do I find the perimeter? Add up all the sides on my base. So remember, I'm looking at my base only. This is the perimeter of the base. So that will give me 28 centimeters. Let's do our capital B now. We have our P, we have our H. Capital B is the area of the base. How do I find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. And remember, I'm only looking at my base. I'm not looking at this figure anymore. I'm looking at the base I drew out. So that'd be 10 times 4, which is 40. So I have all my information. I have my P, my B, and my H. So S equals 28 times 6 plus 2 times 40. Putting it in Desmos just like that. And that should give me 248 centimeters squared. All right, let's look at a cylinder. S equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared is total surface area. We're going to do this with some easy numbers here. So what does 2 represent in my problem? 2 represents the radius. How do we know it's the radius and not the diameter? Halfway across. That's right. 8 centimeters represents what? My height from base to base. So from base to base is my height, so that's 8. So I'm going to label that H. So I have my H and I have my R. Well, I'm just putting the formula. S equals 2 pi R H plus 2 pi R squared. Remember, guys, try pausing the video beforehand and then checking your answer with my answer. All right, and that should give you 125.7. I'm rounding to the nearest tenths place. Okay, so you should have got 0.66, but I'm rounding, so 0.7. All right, triangular prism. Woo! This is the one, man. That is definitely the doozy. So try pausing the video and doing this yourself, or trying to find the total surface area. Okay. So what's the first thing I tell you to do on these problems? Draw out your base. What's the base? On a triangular prism, the triangle is the base. So I'm going to take my triangle. I'm going to draw it out. Ooh, that's a interesting looking triangle. All right, we're just going to leave my interesting looking triangles then. All right, so the bottom of the triangle is 6 centimeters. The sides of my triangle are 4 centimeters. And the height of my triangle is 5 centimeters. Okay, here's my base. Here's my base. Again, I'm drawing out the base because the P and the B both have to do with the base. And it's easier just to look at this rather than get confused like, oh, which numbers do I use? Well, if I know P and B are talking about my base, I'm only looking at my base then, okay? So we're not getting confused with that height part that a lot of people do get confused with. All right, let's see. Let's start with the P. Capital P is the perimeter of the base. Well, remember the perimeter is adding up all the sides. So, perimeter would equal 4 plus 4 plus 6. Why am I not adding 5? 5 is not one of the sides, right? 4 plus 4 plus 6 is 14. So we have our P. Now, let's look at our capital B real quick. Is the area of the base. Again, I'm just looking at this. I drew out my base. Here it is. I don't need to look at anything else. And what shape is that? A triangle. So I know my formula because it's on my formula chart. 1/2 little b times h. 1/2, what's little b stand for? The bottom of my triangle, my base, is 6. H stands for the height of the triangle. I'm looking only at my base, so I'm not getting confused with this 10 right here. Has nothing to do with my base. I'm looking at my base only, so the height of my triangle is 5. So that would give me 15. And then we need this H right here. What does this H stand for? Height from base to base. Well, from triangle to triangle, how tall is my prism? From triangle to triangle, my height is 10. So I have all my numbers, my height, my perimeter, my area, my base. So S equals PH plus 2B. S equals 14 times 10 plus 2 times 15. Putting that in my calculator gives me 170. All right, last thing we're reviewing is Pythagorean Theorem. So remember, A and B represent the legs of your triangles. C represents the hypotenuse. So let's say this is my triangle. What am I missing? the hypotenuse because it's right across from that 90-degree angle. So always, always, always label, label, label. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16. 9 plus 16 is 25 equals c squared. Am I done? Nope, need to square root that, so 5 equals c. There's my hypotenuse. Let's say my triangle looked like this. What am I missing? Here's my 90-degree angle, so that's my hypotenuse over there. So I have my C, and I have a leg, so I'm missing my other leg. Always write down your formula. Always label every single time, every single time, every single time. So 6 squared plus b squared equals 10 squared. 6 squared is 36. Plus b squared equals 100. What do I do from here? Subtract 36 from both sides. B squared equals 64. Square root, b equals 8. All right, hope the review was helpful. Have a great class. You're going to do that review. I think there's 15 questions on it. Do 1 through 15. Make sure you show your work for every single problem. Using the calculator is not showing your work. Show your work, show your work, show your work. Have a great, great day.